sis, and welcome to the Be Wise and Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Imani Danielle. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you want more episodes just for you. We're going to be having a conversation about self-control. And I know us as women, we always use the excuse that we're so emotional and we are supposed to have all these emotions, but honestly, a lot of the ways that we regulate our emotions or handle our emotions are based on what we've seen growing up. And sometimes it's not always the right thing that we're supposed to be doing, or being outrageous, or keeping so many emotions in and then blowing up. These are all unhealthy ways that we may have seen growing up, but it's not exactly healthy. So that's just one reason why we're going to be talking about self-control and how to have self-control and what it looks like. I'm a little sister to 4, which has been cool, being a little sister, being able to watch my siblings and learn on my own and experience life. So I saw how I really wanted to just be grown at a young age and not really listen to my parents and just living a passive lifestyle for a while, which is partly what I've saw growing up, is my family living passively and not really living in conscious awareness of what they're doing and how they're affecting other people. So I had my time of being a party girl, having friends with benefits, being in toxic relationships, falling out with people I love, and the most important thing, getting closer to God. Today is going to be all about self-control, sisters. So I hope you guys are ready, because a lot of us women, we don't be trying to talk about self-control. We're like, you made me do this, and I wouldn't have did this if you didn't do that. We have to be more aware of ourselves and be more healthy inside and be able to regulate our emotions and tell ourselves, okay, you were wrong. You did not have to react like that, and you do not need to do that to get attention from somebody. So for one, you are in control of your thoughts. And when I really say that you're in control of your thoughts, a lot of us, because we've dealt with certain things, we have been living on go. Literally staying busy, needing somebody to talk to, or just filling our minds instead of actually processing our emotions and sitting with ourselves and enjoying our alone time and just enjoying ourselves. So once we can do that, then we can actually think about things and address our thoughts and be like, okay, that thought, I'm letting that go. That thought, I'm actually accepting that as that's going to push me forward. So we don't have to accept every thought that comes in our mind, hold on to it and reminisce in it and create a bad environment because we had this bad thought. And if I'm thinking that, then I don't know why I'm thinking that, and just literally taking up so much time with a thought that came in our head that we can dismiss. That's not me. I don't do that. So I'm not doing that. I'm not about to go crazy and embarrass myself just because they did that. Just because I had a thought in my mind, go crazy, or go off on her just because she did that. No. We have to take a step back. Okay, is this thought helping me? Is this thought good? Is this actually going to solve a problem? Or is this going to actually make the problem worse? So when we can actually sit with ourselves and slow down and journal how we feel, then we can see okay, I've been letting my thoughts be in control and I haven't been addressing them. So I've been actually moving off of my thoughts. And let me just say, a lot of our thoughts is basically what we've been feeding ourselves. So say I sit here and listen to all these rap songs. I listen to some toxic movies that show bad relationships or show like bad marriages, or a guy is just a pimp, or all of that is going to bring back thoughts in your mind. And you're going to be like, all guys is like that. And no, I can't trust him. Like, guys be doing that. Like, haven't you seen that show? And then you're going to have to address these feelings and these thoughts because you put them in your mind. So being able to know that what you feed yourself is also a part of what thoughts you're going to have to battle. So I just want you guys to slow down. Slow down. Like, take time, carve out some time, plan some time for yourself. Even if that's just sitting in the quiet, listening to God, reading a scripture and applying it to your life. Like, all those things can help us process our emotions and be proactive before bad emotions or bad thoughts do come. We're like, we dealt with that thought before. Like, we're dismissing it. Class is dismissed. I'm letting it go. And I'm moving on. We cannot let our feelings and our thoughts make us act crazy is really the biggest thing. And then the second point, your feelings are not always facts. So as a girl that didn't see people actually processing their feelings and they're blaming their feelings on different trauma in their life or blaming their feelings on other people and how other people around them act, it's like, okay, I got all these feelings and nobody is addressing them. So I need the attention, and so we can give ourselves that attention by addressing our feelings. Like, okay, this person made me feel like this, and being curious about this, like, this person made me feel like this. Is this a trigger for me? Like, maybe somebody made me feel like that before and they had bad intentions about it? Or is this something that somebody actually has good intentions behind it, but maybe they said it in the wrong way? So I think when we actually process our feelings, what the person did to make us feel that way, we can actually take that step back in the moment instead of acting on our feelings, because yes, our feelings is valid because we felt that way, but we don't have to act out of control because we feel this way. So being able to look at our feelings and not want everybody else to please our feelings, because sometimes it's literally us just feeling some type of way because of something else. And it might not be what that person might have done. So that's where journaling have really helped me, because I can separate okay, what part am I playing in this? And then what part is somebody else playing in it? And what part is my trauma or my past experience playing in it? And being able to take a step back and even taking a day to be okay, you still feeling like this. It's something that's really affecting you. So what can we do to make it better? And asking myself that and actually addressing it instead of just letting it going out and partying to just not think about it. So I know this is definitely a big eye-opener, even when I first had to accept the concept that my feelings are always facts. Even when I'm because I believe that we should talk to the person that may have made us feel some type of way, just to get that like confirmation that they either did that or they didn't try to. And in that, you have to have self-control. Because you have to just be curious, like, okay, like I felt like this, so I really wanted to like talk about it with you. And so one technique that I've been doing that has helped is, okay, let me tell you how it made me feel. And I'm able to tell them. And then they're able to be like, okay, I can see how that made you feel, but I wasn't trying to make you feel that way. And then you guys can like come to an agreement, like, okay, so maybe if you can do this, or maybe if you can talk to me in a more positive way when I do something wrong, or if maybe next time you can let me know that something is about to happen a certain way so I can be more aware of the intentions before it happens. And so really coming to that agreement that is comfortable or comforting to you. But then also that's a perfect moment to ask them, like, okay, is there anything I've done that may have offended or affected or gave you a bad feeling? And being able to have that open communication. It takes us processing our feelings. Like, yes, it's not a fact, but yes, we need to process it. We need to address it so that we can move on from it. Because when we don't address issues, they don't ever get fixed. And we don't ever feel good about it. We just move on, and then somebody else will do it to us, and then we just get worse and worse at actually processing and addressing it. And sometimes we suppress it, and then we just blow up when it feels like way too much to handle, and nobody is addressing it. But we're not addressing it. So why do we want to expect somebody else to address our feelings if we're not even doing the work to address our feelings in a healthy way? So my last point is, don't take offense or put your defense on. So that really felt like they did something that was towards me and they wasn't being direct about it. Like maybe they told somebody else and was gossiping. And I'm like, wait, you supposed to be my friend. Like, why can't you just come to me and talk to me about like if I've done something or offended you in any type of way? So that's an area where I can quickly just be like, okay, I'm not about to do this. I'm about to do this. Like, why'd you do that? Instead of me being on the curious side, like, yeah, so I'm really trying to process my emotions right now. And I felt like you were gossiping about something that I may have done. And I'm just trying to get some clarity about it. Did I make you feel some type of way about what I said? And that just really puts it on them. Puts how they made you feel on them instead of you just carrying how they made you feel. They made you feel this way. And you want to know if it's true or if like you can just let that feeling go because it wasn't true. And so I think when we come at it from being curious and not creating a judgment before we get curious about it, and staying on offense and staying open and being the person's friend before you investigate it. So just don't write somebody off because you felt like this. Like instead, actually in a curious, respectful way, address them and show them that you want to make it better. You're not trying to cause more confusion. You're actually trying to get clarity. All right, sisters. So those are my 3 self-control points. It really helps for you when you come from that curious side and when you really are trying to make things better instead of trying to make things just be dead or cut them off or avoid them. All right, so 2 real big facts, okay? Having self-control is really honoring yourself. And that really means that you are taking the time to address your own feelings so that you can show up your best self. And also taking the time to respect yourself. So when it comes to respecting yourself, that's a lot of different things. That's your appearance. That's what you're saying. That's your facial expressions. That's listening to people. That's all these different things can show that you have self-control. And when you're able to do that and show up, then other people is like, okay, she honors herself, so I can honor her. If she was out here not honoring herself, not respecting herself and her appearance and things she's saying and people that she's hanging out with, then it will be hard to honor and respect this person. But when you honor and respect yourself, then other people will catch on and adjust to your new standards that you have for yourself. And also, I feel like a lot of us are just continuing as who we were growing up and who people know us by and the attitudes people know us by. And when we know better, then we have to do better. And so that goes to my second point, is being accountable to what you know is true. So this also just reminds me of like Tony Gaspins when he talked about things that basically us making sacrifices now because it's going to have a good outcome in a year or two. So instead of like doing something that's easy now, but it's going to have bad consequences. So sometimes that is simply going off on somebody. Like, you don't want to burn bridges, especially you never know how and when you're going to have to depend on somebody else or when they're going to be in a position higher than you and you just went off on them, and sometimes it don't even be a good reason. It's like, oh, I got a bad attitude. I already know. But you already know that bad attitude is not good and it's not getting you anywhere. It's never going to get you anywhere. So today you need to work on it. In every situation, you need to become more aware of how your attitude is and having self-control enough to know how you're affecting other people with your attitude. This is me talking to me right now because I used to have the worst attitude and I used to just be like, I don't care. I'm about to go. Like, instead of like caring about the other person's emotions and how I'm affecting other people and how I'm affecting somebody else and making them feel. It causes you to be better when you can have self-control in moments to think like, I don't want to make her feel bad. And I have to be compassionate, especially if I want to be compassionate with myself, then I need to be the role model that is showing how to be compassionate with yourself so that you can make better decisions and also how to have self-control. So I'm a role model to that. So if I'm sitting here having a bad attitude because you just not getting it, then I am showing how to act towards somebody that is not understanding you. If I'm just got this bad attitude, just don't talk to me. Sometimes we have to be that listening ear for somebody else. And that takes so much self-control because I know me. It's like, okay, if you're not getting it, then I feel like I'm wasting my time. But what God has shown me is that people can self-correct. And they actually did hear what I was saying that was true. And they actually are processing it, even if it doesn't look like they are right now. So a lot of times we really just have to take that step back and know that this moment is not really about me. This is actually to help somebody else. And being okay. Like, yeah, I'm a role model. God put me as a role model to help other people. So that takes taking my time and doing things that may not make me feel comfortable or may not make me feel like I'm in the best position right now, but they're getting help and it's gonna make them better and they're processing their feelings and I'm helping them do that. So it's just like really being able to recognize those moments and have self-control. And it's like when you know that you are complete in God and God made you for a reason, that goes back to our purpose in our life, then you are being yourself. Like you don't have to do things like other people or like compare yourself to other people. It's like nobody is dealing with this because nobody is me. And God only made one of me. And I'm not about to go out and try to be like somebody else because that's what everybody is doing right now. And being a role model is knowing that nobody is like you and you don't have to please other people as long as you're pleasing God and you're doing right in God's sight and you're being a good role model. You're working on yourself so other people can see that like you can put the work in on yourself and get better. Like you don't have to keep being like other people because they got success a certain way. Like nobody's story is going to be like yours and you're not in competition with anybody. So that's having self-control right there, is when you can know that you're not in competition with anybody. Like when God made you for a purpose, He made you complete. So you don't need anybody else to validate you. And so I have a scripture here and it's Proverbs 21 and it says, wine is a mocker, stronger drinks is raging, and whoever is deceived thereby is not wise. So, and I always love to find definitions of words so I can break things down a little bit more. But it really says to imitate is a mocker. So I love that because I feel like a lot of times when people are going out and being a party girl and getting drunk and all of that, they're really trying to be like somebody else. They're not trying to process their emotions and do what they actually feel like doing. Like if you feel like staying at home, that's what you need to do. Like don't let your friends peer pressure you, or don't let social media look like, oh, everybody's going out tonight. Like, so, and God has me working on this, and I got this project, and I got this book that I want to read, and I want to do this. And knowing that going out is not that fun. And what my opinion about going out is, it should be when you're celebrating. Like, what are you celebrating? Because the culture be acting like they celebrating a day of the week or you're celebrating the weekends. Like, what really have you done? Like, did you accomplish something this week? Is that why you're celebrating? Because I'm confused. But really, I just feel like everybody's just being followers. And right now, it takes us being leaders and being a good influence, and that's being a role model and being responsible and accountable for the position that God has called you to. And so, why is being a role model important? For one, we have the influence on the next generation. And it starts right now. Like, if we don't learn about things that we're doing and work on ourselves and process our feelings, then the next generation isn't either. And they're going to have a hard time because they're like, nobody taught me. And I didn't see anybody like being on their growth journey. That's why it starts right now, because if we can show them now, then they will already be starting to work on themselves. They'll be processing things as they come up, and they won't just be suppressing their emotions and just getting cute and going out and thinking that that's their growth journey. Like, oh, got 5 numbers tonight, and you wasted your time. You about to waste more time talking to them guys, because most of the guys that you meet at the club or going out is not really, if you're trying to be a wife one day, you probably won't meet your husband at the club. You're going to continue to just waste your time. And to my second point, a lot of us have generational curses to break and cycles and trauma to heal from. And so we have to choose to be on our growth journey and show people authentically and literally be real with ourselves and with social media and our followers, because they need to see the real. They don't need to see our fake highlights and us making stuff look good when we feel so broken inside. And so let's just talk about this, because y'all, self-control is so important. Like, it's so important. If you want other people to respect you, especially guys, you have to be somebody that should be respected. And you have to respect yourself, because you can't expect somebody to respect you and make good decisions for you if you don't even know how to make good decisions for yourself. I think a lot of times we even have to change our environment, because if everything is reminding us of the person we used to be, then it's harder for us to overcome that moment or that time in our life. But also, being able to process information or different events that might trigger us. And so for us to have self-control, we have to be able to take that step back and be like, okay, how do I want to react to this? And what outcome do I want from this? And how do I want things to go going forward? Like, is this a relationship that I actually want to reconcile, or is this somebody that I just need to forgive? Or is this moment just a moment for me to see that when that trauma did happen to me, I have new information about it now. So I'm being triggered because it's reminding me of that, but I'm not that person no more. So this triggering moment is reminding me of that traumatic moment, but I'm not in that situation anymore. And so it's going to take us being triggered to actually like have power over that traumatic moment, or have power over the trigger, so that you can have self-control and so that you can process your emotions about things even when they come up again. You can be like, okay, I'm not actually going through that right now. It's just reminding me of this other situation. So how do I want to react to this? So yeah, this is why it's so hard. It's so hard because sometimes things are ongoing, or maybe you felt like you got over it and then it came back up, or somebody did it again and you like, why did they do that again? Like, I forgave them for it. Okay, and then what do you need to relearn? So a lot of the times, sometimes we need to relearn self-control because we didn't even know that we learned self-control. But when we watch people in our family deal with conflict or deal with their own issues, they may not have dealt with it right. They may not have dealt with it at all, or they may have acted like they were dealing with it, but blew up on everybody when it got too much. So when we can go back and in certain moments or in certain situations be like, yeah, I saw my auntie do this and she used to like tell me to do it like that, but that's not right, you know? And so being able to like address those specific moments that you were like taught a certain way and be like, that was not right. That is not healthy. And we should not go off on people. Like, we can have enough self-control to say things in the nicest way possible. So yeah, we have to find those things that we were taught. We're almost out of time, but we have to find those things that we were taught and go back and like tell ourselves like that wasn't right. And so what's one step that you could take to help you on your growth journey? So I think that's a real personal question because you have to think about where you actually see yourself going and how you're going to get there. And being able to look at yourself as the person that you want to be and not the person that you are today. And the person that did things, that made mistakes, that went down the wrong path. Like, I'm not that person anymore. Like, I'm actually somebody that wants to be a speaker one day. Like, I want to graduate from college. I want to have a good sister group that we can do fun things. Like, I'm not that person anymore that used to be a party girl and accepted any type of guys just because they liked me. Like, no, I have new standards that are helping me get the things that I want out of life instead of wasting my time. So that leads me to, what are your personal goals? So we have to write this down. Like, write down what your goal for this month is. Write down your goal for 3 months, for a year, for 5 years, because you have to have a plan. If you have a plan, then you can get there. Like, you can be accountable to yourself, and then also, have a group of girls, that a community that are supportive of those growth goals and are on their growth journey. People like your family that don't even see or understand growth at all or even want to grow, that's not a good person to be your accountability partner or to share any of your goals with, honestly. Those are the people that you tell something after you reach that goal or after you accomplish something, then you can tell them. But before that, you gotta keep it to yourself or have some friends that are on the growth journey with you. And how can you discipline yourself? Y'all, this is a big one because I feel like we hate that discipline word. At least I do. But if we don't want other people to like have to discipline us, or the law, or being broke, then we can be proactive about what we need to do to be more disciplined. And if that's like not going out to your favorite restaurant every week, maybe going every 2 weeks. We have to be intentional about that because we like, at least me, like I like to get what I want and do things when I want to. But if I be proactive about, okay, we're not doing that this week, then I could be like, okay, you said you wasn't doing that, so what else can we do? And that's just really being real with yourself and having self-control. That is real self-control for real, when you make a plan and you stick to it and you're not doing things because you're trying to reach a goal. It's going to require a sense of awareness of ourselves so that we can continue to get better, so we can address our triggers, and so we can see what we need to relearn and unlearn, and ways that we can discipline ourselves and have compassion with ourselves so we can reach our goals. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel, and I will see you in the next episode. Make sure you subscribe if you want more episodes just for you.